just returned from a very fruitful and wonderful bilateral with my counterpart in Fiji, His Excellency the Honorable Hon.Sitiveni Rabuka. As most of you would know, he's a very senior Pacific leader. He assumed office under a small, very small margin. But Fiji has a history of being fragile in its democracy, and we felt from Papua New Guinea context that the Pacific must be home of democracy. There must not be instabilities in the region. In that context, we flew into Fiji to give support to him, and he was very appreciative as Prime Minister on behalf of his people. We appreciate our rebel. Papua New Guinea and Fiji goes back a long way. At our independence, Fiji was present, and in some of the trying moments, PNG always step in. For instance, in 1987 or thereabouts, when they had the first military coup, Papua New Guinea was the first nation of many nations to give comfort to Fiji and to ensure that Fiji government was stabilized. And so following in those traditions, I had to do my bit to ensure that we give support to Fiji as they had concluded the elections and an ascension of government into office. I had to go to this bilateral. In the bilateral, many good conversations emerged. Amongst them, and chief, was for us to consolidate on our own specific bilaterals, PNG and Fiji, being the two big nations in Pacific, big in population, big in economy outside of New Zealand and Australia. And so it was important that both of us affirmed our shared values, entrench our own relationship, and to join hands to steady the course as a family of nations in the Pacific journey on into the future. All of you would know that later this week, Fiji, in the capacity as chair of the Pacific Island Forum Nations, would be hosting the Pacific Island Forum Leaders Meeting. I had to go in early because I had pre-arranged domestic duties on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and onwards, so I was not able to join him on Friday meetings, and I went in early, passed my apologies, but allowed approved for the Honorable Justin Chachenko, Foreign Minister, to be in that meeting. But me going in on Monday, having that meeting on Tuesday, and returning today, did achieve a lot. We consolidated our own relationships and agreements reached on entrenching trade relationship, our people-to-people relationship, our public service relationships, and in due course, below leaders level, our relevant departments will be signing agreements with Fiji on various aspects of our relationships. Fiji did also indicate for reopening the office back in Port Moresby. They closed the office in Port Moresby 2 years ago under Prime Minister Rabuka. He affirmed reopening of office. We indicated offering a land and assistance towards them building their permanent office here in PNG, and there was a request made for a reciprocal give of land, and the Prime Minister Rabuka did indicate looking for a land in Suva for a mission to be established there, and those reciprocal commitments were made. He did indicate that they would, after the budget cycle budget is passed in mid this year, Ambassador High Commissioner would take a post in Port Moresby. There was a conversation on Pacer Plus, a specific aspect of our trade in the region. And the Pacer Plus agreement, we both agreed that we will relook at the terms of the Pacer Plus and ensure that this agreement is beneficial to smaller economies in the Pacific, as well as benefits our trading partners, especially Australia in our relationship with Australia and New Zealand in our region. There was an agreement reached between PNG and Fiji that we will look at the terms of Peso Plus. There was an agreement also reached between us for the Melanesian free trade arrangements to be relooked at. Big nations in Melanesia, we thought there's a request made to PNG to offer our views on our free trade arrangements so we could tidy and allow for free flow of trade between PNG, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, and Fiji in the context. Fiji requested for us to look into the Melanesian free trade arrangements. We gave undertaking that we will return our views at the very earliest, and for sometime this year. We will consolidate on Melanesian peer groups free trade arrangements between ourselves. The Prime Minister Rabuka also acknowledged the remittance benefit from the increased labour quota that Australia kindly offered, but he shared concern on workers' welfare and a possibility of brain drain from Fiji. PNG noted their concerns. We also gave dedication to raise these issues on workers' welfare at our own bilateral discussions with Australia and relevant ministries as they maintain or start up and ramp up the Australian labour mobility program that is currently ongoing. There's a big conversation on marine resources. PNG, Fiji, and the Greater Pacific owns substantial part of the Pacific Ocean. There it has great marine resources. We combine supply almost towards 60% of world's tuna to the tuna market. We felt that there was high theft of our fisheries and marine resources at high seas. We're looking at combined lobby to World Trade Organizations for fishery subsidies and to ensure that our fisheries resources and marine resources are geared or harvested correctly and benefits flowing inward to our Pacific Island nations. Papua New Guinea and Fiji being two big economies and big nations in Pacific have agreed to take leadership, and the conversation will flow on into the Pacific Island Leaders Forum to be held this week Friday in Nadi. We also gave support to Fiji and congratulated Fiji's leadership in PIF, especially when Prime Minister Rabuka, in his first overseas trip, traveled to Kiribati and brought back Kiribati into the Pacific Island Forum nations. If you had not known, Kiribati did exceed it sometimes back under the chairmanship of the previous Prime Minister. The current Prime Minister did visit it, and I had to offer my accommodations to Fiji Prime Minister for him to bring back Kiribati to the fore. These were regional issues, and I just want to encourage our citizens. As Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, the biggest economy in the Pacific outside of New Zealand and Australia, and as a big nation of the small Pacific Island nations, we take leadership. We offer comfort. We offer guidance. We offer our presence in regional conversations. And these are regional conversations that need to be made to ensure that the family of nations remain together in the midst of many challenges we all face. Climate change issues, as I did mention earlier, theft of our resources, and many of our relations to the greater world out there in commerce and trade, and politics, and many more. Being together as a family of nations is totally important. PNG's leadership is needed. We have to ensure that we are present. And because I could not be in the Friday meeting, this bilateral meeting was an opportunity for us to wrap our own discussions in that space and to ensure PNG and Fiji remain unified in many of these common issues affecting Greater Pacific. And I had to acknowledge Fiji's leadership in bringing back Kiribati back to the fore. In that meeting also we did acknowledge that Papua New Guinea and Fiji goes back a long way. A great man walked before me and him. None could be greater than our own Grand Chief Sir Michael Thomas Sumare and his Sir Ratu Kamisa Samara. They were the forerunners and founders of both nations. We acknowledge their respective leadership. we did acknowledge also that the Grand Chief's passing. His second anniversary is coming up this Friday for us, or this Sunday rather. And so we launched the revival of what was traditionally held between our nations, the Somare Ratu Mara Golf Tournament. And there was 6 on our side that traveled who knew how to hit some ball and get the ball moving, represented ourselves, and on their side they had many players. We had a symbolic rekindling of the Ratu Mara Somare Cup. This has been going on before time, in modern time. Why not entrenching the history of our countries that is anchored on the history of the great leaders of both countries, and that Somare Mara Cup was restored. Next year, our Fijian delegation will come to us and play, and we will have an alternate year competitions running, and on the margins of those, we will be having our bilaterals going forward.